I'm Paul Comfort, and this is Transit Unplugged. And today I have the pleasure of bringing to you an interview with my friend Markus Moore, who is Director of Transportation from the City of Annapolis, Maryland, my home state, just across the Chesapeake Bay from where I live. I actually lived in Annapolis for a couple of years when I was younger as a child. And this interview is a companion episode to our upcoming Transit Unplugged TV episode, in which we included an interview with Markus Moore, as well as Holly Arnold, the CEO of the MTA in Baltimore. We look at the Purple Line and other transit systems around the state, including one in Howard County, the RTA. All of that is coming up in our September episode of Transit Unplugged TV, our once-a-month television program. We actually record this podcast on the roof of the Hillman Garage on my phone, talking about transit in Annapolis. Of course, Annapolis is the capital of the state of Maryland. Not only do they have the Naval Academy there, but they have the State House, the General Assembly, the Governor's Office, and all that. And it's a great historic city. It's also the sailing capital of the United States. And there's so many facets to their public transportation system. I wanted him to share it with you on this podcast. And so he does. I think you'll find it fascinating. Speaking of Transit Unplugged TV, this is a companion episode, as I mentioned, but we had a great honor this last week, and that was we were honored with the 46th Annual Telly Award for Travel and Tourism. That's right. It's probably our highest honor we've ever won. We submitted this episode, the Rocky Mountaineer Train Experience, and it earned a bronze Telly in travel and tourism. It was recognized for excellence in an online and television series. It's the same show that we won these two awards for, the Communicator Award and the World Wide Web W3 Award this last year. This is a great episode. Go to our YouTube page, Transit Unplugged TV, and check it out. It's the Rocky Mountaineer Experience. I'd done a podcast interview with the president after I rode the Rocky Mountaineer train that was Denver to Moab route, which was fantastic. And they said, we'd like you to come up and join with other media and do an episode in Canada. So we did that, and it was fantastic. And the show is unlike any other we've done, a real tourism type show. I think you'll love it. Check it out. I want to give congratulations to our team. Of course, myself as the host and producer, I loved making this episode. It's one of the most fun episodes I've been on. But really, a lot of credit goes to our video director and music director and creative director, Jamie Quadra. And also Gerardo Calantuno was helping us on it some. And our executive producer for our program is Julie Gates. Thanks to all of them for their role in this. We've got a lot of great upcoming episodes coming up with Transit Unplugged TV. Like I said, including the one right here in Maryland and my home county of Queen Anne's County. 2 episodes. The Maryland episode that supports this podcast will air in September. The Queen Anne's County episode will air in October. Now let's jump into this fun interview we did from the roof of a parking garage in downtown Annapolis with Markus Moore, the Director of Transportation for the city. Enjoy. This is Paul Comfort, and we are in downtown Annapolis on commissioning week for the Naval Academy. I'm standing on top of the Hillman Garage, and I'm with Markus Moore, who, we're looking right behind your shoulder is the state capitol.
Yes, sir.
The Great Dome. This is the oldest, what is it, the oldest
working legislative building in the United States.
That's amazing. And what's your official title here in Annapolis?
I am the Director of Transportation and Parking for the City of Annapolis Public.
So you work for the city government?
I do work for the city government.
So tell us about your transit system.
Our transit system is like a post system. We have a fixed route. We have ADA complimentary paratransit, and we're piloting a new on-demand transit service that we go where you want to go, when you want to go, within 3/4 of a mile of our fixed route stops. This is a pilot program that we started last July, and it's really working out pretty well, Paul. We're really excited to try something new.
So how long have you been here in this job?
I've been here with the City of Annapolis Department of Transportation since December of 2015, and my current position as Director of Transportation since October of 2022.
We were just talking about kind of our shared background, and tell us about some of your past, because you have a great history for transportation in both rail and bus.
Yeah, Paul, thanks for asking. Going back to 1983, I started with NRPC, which is National Railroad Passenger Corporation, better known to most people as Amtrak.
Amtrak, that's right,
yes.
Baby.
I started as a train attendant out of New York City, doing most of the East Coast runs, and transferred to Washington, D.C. I did that for about 4 or 5 years before I went into ticketing. I was a ticket agent for about 2 or 3 years in station operations, and then I ran the auto train for about 4 years, from 92 to 97.
That's pretty cool, dude.
It was really a lot of fun. But the most fun job that I think I had was bringing high-speed rail to North America. That was on the Acela project out of Philadelphia office. So high-speed rail that came to fruition back in 2001 was a part of bringing that in, bringing a lot of our employees, conductors, engineers, onboard service attendants to see how they do it in another country. So we got a chance to travel and benchmark some high-speed rail in Europe.
And how fast does that Acela train go? I've ridden it. It's pretty fast.
What it did with tilt technology, it was able to take certain curves at a higher speed, but the highest recorded speed is 150 miles an hour,
Wow.
and that's up in New England. There's only about 30 miles of track that it gets to that. But the old Metroliners in the Northeast Quarter got as high as 125, and these can take the curves also at 135. So it is pretty fast getting from Washington, D.C., and clearly D.C. to Boston, where they electrified that segment of track. They used to take 5 hours, brought it down to like 2.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it. I ride from Wilmington.
Wilmington,
yeah,
Delaware?
the Joe Biden station right
Yes.
there, where he's from Delaware guy, you know, and ride it up to New York City.
Yes.
Yeah, or I would go to One Penn Plaza to go see New Jersey Transit. And I think later this year, I'm going to ride it.
It's really a great way to go, you know, sit back and watch, what they say is see America at sea level. So you're able to go, you can just travel and have a nice beverage and look at the scenery you're going by. So that's a great run.
Let's swing back on your story a little bit then. So you were at Amtrak for how many years?
20.
20 years. Got a full career in.
Full career.
And then what'd you do after that?
After that, I went to Freight Railroad. I worked for Norfolk Southern, got qualified as a freight train conductor from CP3, which is just south of the Philadelphia station, to the Susquehanna. So I brought a lot of cars to like Chrysler Yard, and I was a part of Norfolk Southern's Harrisburg crew base in the Newcastle subdivision in Delaware for about a year.
That's so, and then what?
And then I came into busing. And then busing comes in around 2006.
Okay.
And I worked at BWI as the assistant general manager for MAA. We were the contract bus operator for the state-owned garages, long-term A, long-term B, daily garage, and all.
You're the one I got to complain to. No,
yeah, I'm the guy, yeah. And then the old Howard County Transit, as known today as the RTA.
And when were you there?
I was there from like 2011 to 2013.
Okay.
We were on McCall Court in Elkridge.
And did you work for, who did you actually work directly for then?
Then it was David Van Fossen was the vice president.
I remember him, yeah.
First Transit, but through CMRT, there was a guy by the name of John Powell.
Yes.
He was the CEO, I believe, of CMRT.
Yeah, so
he was our client.
Again, our paths could have almost crossed because I was managing that operation, Howard Area Transit. Remember, it was HATS for a while.
Yes.
And then Howard Transit, we got that green, the green buses.
Yes,
we created that
yeah.
Howard green color. It was the only transportation system in America run by a Chamber of Commerce who had the CMRT logo. I had a guy named Ron Scoats that was there.
Yes.
Yeah, and Ray somebody was our director there, but I worked for the contractor.
Yes.
But it was yellow.
Yes.
And then yellow became, you know, Connex,
Yes.
which became Veolia,
Yep.
which became Transdev. And so you were there for First.
I was there for First Transit,
Okay.
and also working with John Powell was a guy by the name of Maynard Nash.
Oh, I know Maynard.
Maynard was
Yeah.
worked with Ron Scoats and all. We were all there
It's
together.
such a funny small world, man.
Yes,
and
it is.
yeah. So how many years did you do that?
There with First Transit about 5.5 years before I
Okay.
went to National Express, and they said, "Go west, young man," and I went to Vallejo, California.
And that's where you met my buddy John Duncan, right?
Yes, I met John Duncan there. That's
Yeah.
right. Yes, yep. So I ran Vallejo, or in Vallejo, California.
California,
Yep. Solano Transportation in Benicia, Vallejo, California, and we ran that operation for about 6 months.
Okay.
Before I decided to go to South Florida, and then was another contract, and we were the subcontractor for the Hollywood Fort Lauderdale Airport for their transportation to the parking garages.
Oh, yeah. We were just there. We just filmed
wow.
there.
That's a great
with
location, huh?
Corey Cuff-Lonergan, who is CEO of Broward County Transit.
Okay.
Yeah, she just did the podcast. And then what?
Then came to good old City of Annapolis
Okay.
in December 2015 and been here since.
So 10 years, baby.
10 years just about here, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's amazing. And what's it like running a system in the state capitol?
It is so amazing to see so many different folks that come here. We have a melting pot of visitors, of residents, of business owners. It's really just a great place to be. And in our own backyard with the employees that I work with, the same kind of melting pot is really just great. With the, if you want great seafood, you come out here and
That's
you
right.
take right down the Chesapeake Bay.
We just had some.
We did really
Yeah.
just have some at one of the local restaurants.
Yeah.
So the Severn River going into Chesapeake Bay that goes inside the Atlantic Ocean. could ask for anything more.
Yeah, and this is really the sailing capital of the world, right?
This is the sailing capital.
Yeah, so many sailboats here.
Just had our boat show back in April, and then the fall boat show with the powerboat sailboats in October. Please come out. We're reimagining City Dock. It's going to be a world-class event area.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's being redeveloped right now.
That's awesome, man.
Yep. In about 2.5 years, we should be done.
For those people who don't know, the Annapolis downtown area is like nowhere else in the country. And the Inner Harbor area is just fantastic. And it's right next to the United States Naval Academy.
It sure
which
is.
is why we're up here on this garage roof today, right?
Yes.
So when we come back in just a minute, we'll talk more about the Naval Academy and the role of transit in moving a state capital. Hey friends, it's Paul Comfort, host of Transit Unplugged, and I've got some exciting news to share. Did you know that Transit Unplugged is now a hybrid podcast experience? That's right, we're not just in your ears anymore, we're on your screens too. Each week on YouTube now, you'll find a brand new version of our show featuring a video intro from me, plus behind-the-scenes photos and visuals of our guests when we record interviews on location in person. From transit centers to waterfronts and boardrooms, we're taking you there visually, adding a whole new layer to the storytelling. And the response so far has been amazing. Thousands of people are already watching and listening on YouTube, and most, get this, are watching on their TVs. So if you haven't yet, take a moment to check us out on YouTube. Just search Transit Unplugged Podcast on YouTube. Then hit subscribe and experience the show each week in a whole new way. We're making transit media more dynamic, more accessible, and more fun than ever, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Now let's get back to the conversation. We're back with Markus Moore, who is the head of transportation for the City of Annapolis. Markus, tell us about the Naval Academy and their interaction with the city, et cetera.
Yeah, thanks for asking. The Naval Academy has been here, founded back in like 1845, and it's really a gemstone here, and it really gives a lot of prestige to the City of Annapolis.
Yes.
They're a great partner to be here with them, with us. And the Naval Academy, as most people know, they train officers for the Marine Corps and the United States Navy, of course,
right,
to be officers and go out in the world and serve our country. It's really a great partner with them. As you take a look downtown, you'll sometimes see them walking about with their families.
Yeah, the midshipmen with their white uniforms.
Yes.
I saw a bunch of them today, yeah.
Well, this is commissioning week, Paul, and we're looking forward to seeing all of them.
Tell us what that means.
Commissioning week is when these graduates become commissioned officers and they get their deployment somewhere around the country, around the world, to serve the country as they just got their degree here.
Yeah.
So yesterday we had the practice of the Blue Angels. Today is the show, and Friday is actually the commissioning ceremony at the United States Naval Academy parking lot. And this is a really big time for the city. It brings a lot of visitors and guests, media and like to just see this kind of event. It's really exciting to be around this.
It is, yeah. For those of you who are listening, we're also filming an episode of our television show, Transit Unplugged TV, and I'm here with our video director, Jaime Quadra.
Hello, Paul.
And a bunch of other folks.
Congratulations for the latest award, the Tele Awards.
That's right. And got some other friends with us, too, who are helping us film. And you'll be able to see what Markus has been talking about because we're filming here. We'll show you the city. We'll show you. Actually, we're going to show one of your free buses. Tell us about that.
Oh, yes. The Magenta Shuttle, Paul, is our free service. It's a circulator bus. It's called the Magenta Downtown Shuttle. It starts just outside of the city at Park Place Garage, runs about every 20 minutes, every single day. Some abbreviated schedules on weekends, like Sunday 8 to 8, Saturdays 8 until midnight, Monday through Friday 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night.
So it's a great shuttle service.
It's a great shuttle. The whole loop is about 1.5 miles. And it takes about 20 minutes to go from start to finish. So jump on and off. There's a bunch of stops along the way. Look for the Magenta Shuttle and stop and flag it down and jump right on.
Oh, that's awesome. So we are like standing, it's not really sunny today, but in the shadow, let's say metaphorically, of the state capitol dome.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Which is just phenomenal looking. If you've never seen the Annapolis dome of our state capitol, it is just a tremendous place. When I was CEO of the MTA, I spent a lot of time there testifying before the legislature. But what's it like having them come into town where you've got the delegates and the state senators and the governor and his staff all, right here, riding your system sometimes, I'm sure.
Absolutely, Paul. So for those 100 days starting in the early early part of January all the way to the middle of April. The legislative session, all kinds of bills, all kinds of legislators from around the state are going to descend on the state capitol to introduce new bills and hopefully get them through committee. And as you've been saying, Paul, as an advocate for public transportation, those are some really big bills that we want to get through. So we want to really make sure we have an avenue to get those that have an option out of their cars and ride the bus.
Yeah.
How do they do that? When it's safe, reliable, and convenient for them to do so. Right now, you get a lot more of just folks that that they're dependent on it. So being able to increase the footprint of what we have and where we go is what we want to do to get people out of the cars.
Absolutely. Let's talk some about your system a little bit more. How many drivers, the union? I think that's interesting. They're in a so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, our system here, we're considered, Paul, a locally operated transit system, better known as a lot. There's about 23 lots in the state of Maryland, from Western Maryland to Cumberland all the way down to Ocean City. So we're one of those, and we have about 30 full-time drivers and about a dozen part-time drivers, and they are a part of the union. And being a full-time employee of the City of Annapolis, you're part of the state pension system.
Yeah, I love that.
And then being vested 10 years to become vested to be a part of that.
And what's the name of their union?
AFSME, A-F-S-M-E. AFSME is a union that represents our bus drivers and our mechanical
state,
forces.
county, municipal employees, those kind of things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so you got the drivers, and then who else do you have? Mechanics, dispatchers?
Right. We have the supervisor dispatchers that give the direction to the operators when they're on the road. And we have a fleet of mechanics that actually take care of our buses. We can do about 90-95% of all of our repairs in-house. Certain things we have to send out to be a heavy lift. But we do have an operation that has dispatchers, supervisors, drivers, and mechanics. About a staff of about 52 to 55 employees total.
All right, Marcus, so tell us about the service area that you serve.
Yeah, even though the City of Annapolis is about 5.5 square miles, we have about 40,000 residents. We're a little bit more far-reaching into the county, and we connected with other services that get you to other places. So, going out to like the community college, which is in Arnold.
Oh, yeah, I'm right too.
Yeah, down that direction, or to the mall, which is actually City of Annapolis, but it is actually in the county.
Okay.
So we have 5.5 square miles and about 40,000 residents, but looking at not just the residents, but the businesses that are here. And the Naval Academy is one of the big employers, as well as Anne Arundel County Medical Center.
Do midshipmen ride free?
That is a good question, and you know what the answer is? Yes.
Is that right?
Matriculating student, K through 12 rides free during the week.
Okay.
During school sessions, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but there is a student rate of $1 to approve. So, the local college is like St. John's, which I believe is the second oldest college in the United States.
That's right, yeah. They're a big liberal arts school, very well respected.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so many cool things around here, and they're just the cobblestones, just the brick streets, the downtown area, the main street here is phenomenal. And you're under the City of Annapolis, and you kind of report up through the mayor?
Yes, through the city manager and the mayor, yes.
That's good. And you all connect in with your regional transportation partners, like the RTA with Jason Kwan. I mean, we just interviewed him the other day.
We want to make sure we have, those invisible barriers that we can connect and get to, like Crofton or to other employment hubs.
Yeah.
Arundel Mills now.
Annapolis Mall, probably,
So connecting with Howard County, in Arundel County, and of course Baltimore City, they have the number 70 bus here, Paul, that one of their longest routes from Capsco to Annapolis. So we can get, other places for employment and getting to the airport and all that stuff there.
Yeah, Annapolis is like right in the middle of Baltimore-Washington corridor, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
So the MTA brings people down here from Baltimore, right, on routes?
They do, yep. That one bus that does come every single day, about once every hour and a half or so, 20 minutes.
And you mentioned you're piloting a on-demand. You want to tell us about that, and what do you think is going to happen with that?
Yeah, the on-demand service is a subscription service. You can call our office to actually make a reservation, or you can download the app, and I'll send you information, Paul, on that, but you can download the app and actually call that bus for yourself, and it'll tell you when a bus will actually be available to come pick you up. So what you actually do is go on.
He's doing it right now for me.
You can book
He's
your
showing
ride,
the app here. Okay.
And it says where we are right now. It says where I am at 145.
Just like an Uber, it'll tell you where you're at.
Right. It'll tell you where you're at. You tell them where you want to go, and it'll tell you how close. Because it's not like Uber will come right to you, but there's a geofence to tell you where you need to go, which may tell us Gorman Street at Main Street.
Like it'll give you a corner spot to go to?
It will. It'll tell you when your bus is coming. You can actually track your bus. And it's the same fare, Paul, as our regular fixed route buses.
Wow.
So $2 or or if you buy a daily pass, weekly pass, you can tap that and go along that way. Seniors are half price. Students, disabled, and handicapped are half price as well. So $1 one way.
That's awesome. So as I mentioned to you earlier, I grew up here in Annapolis when I was very young. My dad had a job here in Eastport as a pastor of a church over there. And so we lived in the parsonage in Eastport. And I used to come over that bridge, but Eastport's it's part of Annapolis, right? Still?
It is, yes.
Yeah, but it's very preppy, I hear. The houses are very expensive. And, yeah.
Right on the water, that is the peninsula, so it does get kind of bottleneck when you come out to kind of watch the Blue Angels or things like that.
Yeah. Would you have bus service all back in there?
We do have bus service down there. We have a lot of service that goes from the mall to Eastport as a turnaround point to come back out.
Okay.
So 3 of our routes actually do serve Eastport all the way to the mall and coming up Main Street that you saw earlier.
And you mentioned over lunch that you just bought a couple electric buses.
We do.
Tell me about that.
We're really excited to have those in our fleet. We have 2 30-foot BYD buses that are fully electric.
But they're made here in America. What's the name of the company now?
The company is Ride, and they're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and so they're built right here in the United States.
And who's the sales guy or buddy that used to work with us?
Carl Wheeler.
Carl, that's it. Yeah, man. He's my guy. I like him. Yeah. So how's that working for you?
It's working out very well.
Yeah,
people love it. Clean, green, and quiet. We have as our logo on there.
Especially like in a downtown area like downtown Annapolis. They probably love that.
They do love it. Yeah. We're trying to change our carbon footprint and making the place a little bit better for the people that come behind us.
Yeah.
We're doing our share.
Well, that's wonderful. Anything else you want to talk about?
Can't think of anything else. So, Paul, thanks for coming out and thanks for having it. Coming out and see us.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Transit Unplugged podcast. We're so glad you're here. My name is Julie Gates. I'm the executive producer of the show, and our goal is to create programs that promote the great things going on in the transit industry by providing you with behind-the-scenes access with industry executive leadership so we can work together to find innovative industry solutions. We would love to have you be a part of the Transit Unplugged community by having you sign up for our newsletter. Head to the show notes to find the link. Thanks for listening to Transit Unplugged with Paul Comfort, our favorite transit evangelist, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.